Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. The name alone carries with it a huge weight in the world of anime, and this gravitas puts me in a perilous position when I critique the series in any way. Despite the danger in it though, I find the show imperfect in many ways, but only one of the problems I have with the series I would consider a major flaw. And before I go any further, my issue is with a very big spoiler, so go watch the show if you haven't already done that, and then come back. Alright, if you're still here, I warned you. Nia's disappearance at the end of the series is my biggest problem. The only reason I take issue with the decision is because this single element of the show runs counter to the logic of the spiral that the show has, until this point, carried with it even through the impossible situations Simone and the Daiguren Brigade get themselves into. Now, Spiral is, in Simone's own words, about two sets of ideals that weave together into a double helix, drilling a path toward tomorrow. The dreams of those who have fallen and the hopes of those who will follow. The indomitable human spirit is the capacity to sacrifice everything to reach the future, and if that's not enough, open the way for those who come after, creating a space for the new generation to continue their crusade long after they've ceased to exist. Everything the series does builds up to this one single idea. Simone grows up mourning the loss of Kamina, yet drills ever forward toward the dream Kamina instilled in him. And Yoko loses not one but two loves, yet still drills ever forward to protect and teach the children she's come to hold so dearly. Every character in the show works toward that same goal. Even the minor and side characters do the same. It's why Lord Genome and the Anti-Spiral lost. They tried to tamp down on the natural instinct of Spiral and failed to realize nothing can ever stop it, because someone else will always pick up the drill. And this is why Nia's fate is so appalling to me. She is given very little agency in the second half of the show, except to resist being digitized and slightly help Simone by holding back. She becomes simply something to rescue, a trophy for Simone to receive in his fight. At most, she's Simone's sacrifice to make, rather than her sacrificing herself according to the spiral, like everyone else who gave their lives in the series before her. She becomes neither the fallen nor the follower in accordance with the spiral that still exists inside of her. And at the end, she is anti-spiral infused with spiral energy, legitimately the only existence of its kind in the entire universe. Yet this narrative device is only used to keep her alive long enough for someone else to come along, save her, and marry her. She serves as Simone's catalyst, and nothing really much else in the second half. No worth but to further Simone's characterization. The creators must have come to the same conclusion, because in the movie version, Nia was given her own mech, and the opportunity to actually fight to protect the one she loved, instead of just being a prisoner or a trophy like she was in the series. While everyone else was also given a mech, the difference here is that in the series, all the people who were given a mech in the movie were already fighting as part of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. All except for Nia, who sat in Simone's lap and did nothing directly. This is contrasted even further with the Nia of the first half of the show, who adamantly went up against the generals and even her own father, taking direct action to fight the fate that awaited her otherwise. Even in the final fight against Lord Genome, she fought with Simone in the cockpit, instead of just sitting there like she did in the battle against the Anti-Spiral. But let's set that all aside for a second and ask a simple question. Why does defeating the Anti-Spiral even make anything they made disappear in the first place? Simone killed Lord Genome, who sat in much the same role and place as the Anti-Spiral. Yet humanity continued to exist after his death. Even if the two aren't comparable, it's still silly to think that anything made by a race just disappears after they're defeated. Of course, this could be countered with the fact that Nia was nearly atomized before Simone saved her in the end, and she could only keep her form thanks to the spiral energy that infused her from that point. Yet, her body and form were entirely whole even before being infused with that energy. Simply being released from her bonds by Gurren Lagann's drill brought her back to full form. But maybe it was the ring that granted her that power, so hey, whatever. On a similar note, why only after 7 days did she have to disappear? Why not a year? Spiral energy is limitless, and while I'm not advocating keeping her alive forever, since Simone mentioned that wasn't what spiral power was for, in this time, Simone and Nia could have conceived a child with genes from both Anti-Spiral and Spiral. creating a new life form and generation to carry their dreams onward. And then she could disappear if she really had to. This would have been much more in line with the logic of the show and Spiral philosophy of fighting fate to pave the way for the next generation, as well as more effective storytelling than just giving the drill to Kimmy, who was only slightly relevant the entire series. Still, it could be argued that handing off the torch to someone you're not related to, but call family anyway, is exactly what Kamina did to Simone, but I find the idea of creating a new life form much more intriguing, especially if the show were ever to get a sequel, not that it needs one. Regardless of all the many claims and counterclaims, the way the second half of the series ended left Nia with no visible impact on the world, except as an anti-Spiral villain. Any change she made was just through Simone's actions, rather than anything she did on her own. She doesn't get to control her fates, but just has it happen to her instead. Her destiny in the hands of others rather than her own. The person in the first half might as well just be an entirely different character. And this fact doesn't sit well with me considering every other character gets the opportunity to change fate for themselves, to reach out and pierce through whatever preconceived notions the universe had planned for them, and reach a new tomorrow. I mean, even Viral got to do things for himself. A character who was transformed into an immortal just so he could sing Lord Genome's praises. But despite all my complaints and problems with the show, Gurren Lagann is an anime that will stand the test of time. And even if it seems like I'm rooting for the Hollywood ending of Happily Ever After, I'm definitely not. Thematically, Nia's death is a good tool that was used to great effect, at least judging by everyone who loves her and defends her fates. And honestly, I'm pretty okay with it too, other than the fact that it really robs her of all agency in the story. And I also think it could have been used much more effectively and more in line with the show's logic, personally. Anyway, if you thought my ideas on Nia and the show were similar to your own, or even if you vehemently disagree, I hope you'll stick around to listen to more of my dumb thoughts about anime in future videos by subscribing and pressing that notification button to know exactly when another video of mine goes up. And if you just can't get enough of me from this video, I have a wide variety of other videos on anime you can find on my channel. Oh, and I also do articles on Desu Daily recommending or warning you away from currently airing anime if you're into a little less listening and a little more reading. If you want to talk to me directly though, you can always follow me on Twitter and talk to me that way, or just leave a comment down below. Either way, you can find links to my social media in the description, as well as a link to what I use to record if you're into that. In the end, I hope you remember to enjoy the way you watch anime. Because as long as you're having fun, that's all that really matters. See you next time.
Fight the power!